Hey, yo, Pro Wrestling Podcast listeners. Welcome to the show where we don't sing it, we bring it. Help us out and click subscribe to show your support. Guys, are you sick and tired of dropping $60 to $100 for the latest and greatest wrestling video games? Stop immediately. Go to Wrestler Unstoppable, available exclusively through Facebook. Create a wrestler, sign contracts, get into storylines, headline pay-per-views, even build your own corporation, all included in Wrestler Unstoppable, available now to all Facebook users totally free. If you want to become a member of the Pro Wrestling Podcast family, you want your name in the shout-outs like my good buddy John down in Texas, then check out our Patreon page at patreon.com/ProWrestlingPodcast. Sign up today. We have loyalty rewards. If you're a $15 a month contributor, you get to co-host a live show with me. $7.50 a month contributors entered into a drawing to do the same. Hello, everybody. Welcome to this episode of the Pro Wrestling Podcast. If you've got questions, comments, concerns, anything you want us to talk about in a future episode, give us a shout over on the Pro Wrestling Sound Off line. It's 267-642-1160, and we will try to get to those whatever it is that you want us to talk about in a future episode. And if you are new to us and you're a brand new listener, welcome to the show, and make sure you stop by our homepage at frowrestling.com. Jumping into the news tonight, there's a lot going on. Let's start first with CM Punk. Everybody's always wondering what the heck the next thing Punk's going to do is. He's recovering from, the after effects of the brawl out or fallout from the all out scrum afterwards. The revelation that he has the torn tricep injury and whatnot. And we're not sure if he's coming back to AEW. Reports had suggested earlier that he was potentially working on a buyout or whatnot. But the interesting thing for me today is that with the social media post going up by MJF, where he's posing with two of his Pro Wrestling Illustrated awards, including Feud of the Year going to he and CM Punk, he put tape over CM Punk's name and posed in this picture, two of the plaques and then the championship belt and whatnot, in a very interesting outfit. I think it's a wonderful outfit. That being said, CM Punk, of course, going online, responds, says maybe find some tape for those ratings so nobody sees those either. Clearly taking a dig at Punk's ability to draw in the fans as the world champion. You have to wonder, is this him just laying down some fuel for the fire for a future opportunity if he does choose to come back to AEW, or is this something that is legitimate? Maybe he feels that MJF isn't as over as he thinks he is. I don't know. I don't have a clear answer to that, but I do love that Punk keeps himself relevant while being away so much. I think it's always fun to see the banter that he throws out there. Other news, Shingo Takagi, who, if you don't know who that is, I'm just telling you, hop online, go to YouTube or wherever you get your stuff, or if you're fortunate enough and you have New Japan World, check out Shingo Takagi. He's an incredible talent for New Japan Pro Wrestling. Kenny Omega mentioned him as one of the people he would like to wrestle with, and I think the match would be absolutely off the chain. Fantastic opportunity there. But he put out a post on social media on his YouTube channel stating, Kenny Omega, the U.S. champion, mentioned my name as a potential opponent, but time is running out if I keep saying let's do it someday. If the fans want to see it and Kenny wants to fight, I want to do it before the end of the year. And that's huge because for people who have followed Kenny Omega's career, and if you are a real diehard who've followed Shingo Takagi, he's had some incredible matches the last couple of years, really put himself in a strategic place to be a top draw in New Japan, winning the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship, beating some incredible talent over the years. And it's a match that really would be, and when you think about New Japan Pro Wrestling, for those who are really tuned into the New Japan product, we have seen Tanahashi and Okada and Naito and Tanahashi. And then you throw Jay White in there and Will Ospreay. We've seen combinations of those same five guys on top for, it seems like forever. When you throw in a little bit of AJ Styles before he came to WWE, there really hasn't been a lot of movement at the very top of the card. And so Shingo Takagi was a great addition to the top of the card, and he has not had a lot of experience with Kenny Omega, and I think it would make for just a really great match, a very physical match, and I'm actually hoping New Japan finds a way to put that one together, because that would be one that would actually pique my interest quite a bit. I don't know if they'll put on the instant mat classic like Omega did with Will Ospreay, but I think it would definitely be worthy of watching and being a program. In other New Japan's news, the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship is now slated to be defended at New Japan Battle in the Valley. That is the event that it's sold out in no time here in the United States, knowing that Sasha Banks or Mercedes Moné is going to be making her debut for the corporation. It should be interesting. We don't know exactly who will be challenging. We know Kazuchika Okada is the IWGP World Heavyweight Champion. There is a match that is coming up that will see Okada versus Shingo Takagi at that event. And then the winner would be the one who goes on to defend the championship in the United States. Now, I have no idea who they'll be facing. We'll have to wait and see. But you got to take a look at their championship picture right now. And what's difficult is Jay White. We spoke about it last episode, thinking about going to WWE or AEW. They're going to lose his talent and his skill set and his spot on the top of the card. So then who slips into that spot? You know what I'm saying? So we'll have to wait and see who fills that void. But I think there's definitely an opportunity to promote somebody and really make the event. Just add a new layer. Maybe use that as an opportunity to springboard somebody into the vacancy that's going to be left by Jay White, especially since the show will be here in the United States. You could really bring in a U.S. product or a Canadian product to really add an element to the top of their card. Speaking of match cards, Ring of Honor will be holding a major event in WrestleMania 39 weekend. If you look at the slug for this episode, you'll see that I have there Supercard of Honor 2023 will take place during WrestleMania 39 weekend. They don't have any matches announced yet, but on the picture, you'll see Claudio Castagnoli, the Ring of Honor World Tag Team Champions, the Briscoes, Samoa Joe, Wheeler Yuta, Athena. They will all be there. The Six-Man Tag Team Championship, the Embassy will be there defending. So it's pretty much an all-hands-on-deck for Ring of Honor, and I love that Tony Khan is keeping with the tradition of doing Supercard of Honor. It'll be exciting to see over the next couple months who will be facing who. Hopefully he finds a way. What I really need him to start thinking about is really finding a way to distinguish that product from the AEW product, because right now it's just too muddled. Those championships just seem like they're another AEW championship, and that's really not what it's supposed to be. The Ring of Honor product is supposed to be a separate company. If they're just going to keep cross-mixing everything and just putting them all in the same shows and almost insulting the Ring of Honor product by putting it on Dark Elevation and things like that, then what's the whole point? You know what I mean? Like, fans, that's not why they tune into Ring of Honor. They want to see some of the best wrestling in the world, and they want to see it showcased the way Ring of Honor always was, and it really hasn't been that since Tony Khan took over. Update on FTR. Their contracts do officially run out in April of this year, and it'll be curious to see where things go from there. On the latest FTR with Dax Harwood podcast episode, he made it very clear that their contracts run out in April and that they've got permission from AEW to take the next couple of months off to really heal up and figure out what it is they want to do. He even conceded the fact that there's a chance that they don't get back to television before their contracts run out. And he's not sure what he wants to do. He's going to take everything into consideration. He actually has a line in there. He says, I have to take in my health. I have to take in my family. I have to take in my creativity. I have to take in my personal life, all into consideration about what we're going to do next. And he made it clear that whatever he does, he's going to make the decision with his tag team partner. And I think that's great. You know, we really, Cash Wheeler is as big a part of this as Dax Harwood. I think the two of them have really gone out of their way to emphasize the importance of tag team wrestling. And I think it's only natural to see them do whatever they do together. He did make it clear that this will be their last go around in professional wrestling. Now, I think maybe one or both walk away at the end of whatever their next contract is. How long the next contract will be, who knows? I think only they have an inkling about where they're leaning in that direction. But they have both stated previously about wanting to spend more time with their families and not wanting to be on the road, 250 days a year, which might be a factor in why they may not want to go back to WWE. They like the creativity. Maybe that's another reason. But then again, maybe they've got some issues with some of the people in AEW. Clearly, they don't mind you bringing up controversial topics on Harwood's podcast. So maybe there's some animosity there. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. The betting odds were released for Impact Wrestling's first pay-per-view of the year, Hard to Kill. Not a lot of note here. The Impact World Championship match, Josh Alexander's like the hands-down favorite, a minus 5,000. I don't know if I've ever seen odds like that for a favorite. Jordan Grace is also going to be on the card defending the Knockouts Championship against Mickie James. I'll be honest with you, this is the probably the last stop on Mickie James's last rodeo tour. She is the plus 130 underdog to the Jordan Grace minus 180 favorite. Everybody's expecting Jordan Grace to walk away. However, I don't know if this will be the last time we see Mickie in the ring. Coincidentally, we're looking at a time period here where it would not surprise me to see her walk out of Impact Wrestling and show up at the Royal Rumble. I really wouldn't. I think there is a little bit of unfinished business there. And if in any possibility Nick Aldis chooses to sign with WWE ahead of the Royal Rumble, I think it just makes sense. And she really could contribute at a high level, whether it's a mouthpiece for him or as an in-ring talent, one of the best female wrestlers in the history of the business. So, more power to her. I don't want to go down the rest of the odds because the card, I'm not trying to crap on Impact Wrestling, but it's not an overly impactful card, if you ask me. I'm interested to see Jonathan Gresham versus Eddie Edwards. Gresham, the hands down favorite, but the rest of the matches are pretty well. I mean, the odds speak for themselves. You can go online, find them. I found mine on Wrestling Inc., where it's just very obvious who's going to win everything on the card, and that's always difficult when you see that because it doesn't give any creativity to or build up any anticipation. You trying to hope to see who's going to win what. So we'll have to see where things go from there. The big stories of the night. Sting's AEW contract runs out at some point this year, and he has made it very clear that when this contract is up, he will step away from being behind the paint. That'll be the end of it. He'll walk away from the business, or at least as an in-ring performer. I know that as a diehard Sting fan myself, I've always hoped that, with Triple H at the helm, maybe, just maybe, we get one last go-around in WWE and that they would use him correctly. It does not look like that's going to happen now. I mean, I hope there's no animosity between the two companies. And perhaps maybe he's able to do like these one-offs where he shows up and he's just a face in the crowd or whatever. I don't really care. I hate to see him leave the profession altogether just because he's done so much, especially since he's very critical of his own work nowadays, concerned about his mobility in the ring and things like that. I think he's putting on some of the best matches of the last 20 years of his career. So I'm hoping that we see him one more time on the biggest stage of them all. The other news of the night, WWE Royal Rumble related, surprise entrance. I know a lot of people have been expecting Cody Rhodes to return at the Rumble, but rumor is that Cody Rhodes is not going to come back as a surprise at the Rumble, that his return is going to be a well-documented thing. It's not going to be a shocking return. So I feel like that kind of pulls him out unless they have him come back at the Raw 30th anniversary show, because that show will act as the go-home episode ahead of the Royal Rumble. So you could expect something crazy to happen there to pop that show, and then, of course, then having big returns at the Rumble itself. Now, the word is that other than Cody Rhodes, Edge is penciled in to appear at the Royal Rumble. This will be another return for Edge at the Premium Live event, as well as his wife, Beth Phoenix, is listed as a performer for the Royal Rumble this year. Other people, Doudrop, who has been off television since September, is also slated to be a part of the Rumble. And the big one that I'm curious about, Logan Paul has been talked about as somebody to make an appearance during the Rumble. The concern is he did have the injury to his meniscus and his MCL on his right leg. We don't know where he's at in his recovery, but if he is able to make an appearance, I think that would only help the product. And the last thing for the night, AEW is apparently in the pool of potential buyers for WWE with all the insanity that's gone on this week that we've reported on previously. That to me is shocking. But there's a report from Barron's, which is a sister website of the Wall Street Journal, suggests that the Khans, father and son, may go in with a buying group and make an offer to purchase WWE. I don't know how I feel about that, to be perfectly honest with you. I don't think Tony Khan is the best booker. But I do know he's a diehard wrestling junkie. I think I'd feel safer with it in his hands than anybody else who's on the buyer list. But I don't know if I trust his booking. Now if it's one of those things where he was going to buy the company and keep Triple H in his position and keep it as a separate entity, I'm on board, all in. But I don't know if I highly doubt that would be the case with all the history, with the iconography and the visuals they've used to kind of knock Triple H in the past. Cody Rhodes knocking over with sledgehammer to knock over the throne and all that kind of stuff in the past. I don't know that would ever work out, but if it could, I almost think that would be an incredible opportunity. I know Eric Bischoff on his 83 Weeks podcast is not a fan of that idea. He thinks that if somebody like Saudi Arabia purchases the company, it's great for AEW because then WWE wouldn't get the same kind of streaming rights they have right now and television rights, and then AEW could slide in there. And quite the opposite, if somebody like CBS Universal buys them, then WWE may be able to get in an even more lucrative position than they currently are, and that would put pressure on AEW to respond some way, and it might put too much pressure on them to be successful. That's all the time we have for this episode. Check back with us next episode where we'll run down the latest wrestling news and rumors. Special thanks as always goes out to bensound.com and purpleplanet.com for producing any sound and music we use in our episodes. Today's show sponsored by Beazle Games. Bring a new friend to family game night with sketchy people. Showcase your artistic side in this game from Beazle Games by going to frowrestling.com and clicking the icon in the middle of the screen to pick up your copy today. And if you're looking for your next career move, you're considering college, university life, maybe you just need some formal training for your next career decision, go to our sister website at frolifeplanning.com for all your higher education needs, as Fro Life educational planning is for today, for tomorrow, and for life with Fro Life. I'm Fred Froelich, better known as Dr. Fro. Thank you so much for taking a few moments with us today. Until next time, take care, everybody. Have a great night.